What's up, family? Hey, I want to talk to you guys about something real deep, real heavy today. Sit back, buckle up. It's going to get deep. There is a medical condition called hematidosis. 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 I believe that's how you spell it. And what this condition is that it's caused by great fear, great agony, and it causes you to sweat blood. To sweat blood because you're that fearful. A capillary, I believe, in your head busts, and so you're sweating blood. What am I talking about? Why am I talking about that? I propose to you that there are circumstances in your life, in our lives, that create so much pain, so much agony, so much fear. And the great majority of us don't want to deal with those things. Story in the Bible where Jesus was in the garden at Gethsemane and he was praying. And it was the night before he was betrayed, or the night that he was betrayed. And he cried out because he didn't want to go through what he was about to go through. He knew the pain and the agony that his body was about to go through. And he cried out to God, asking, could that cup be taken from him? Could he bypass that part? Because he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to have to go through that. There's a challenge that each and every one of us face in our growth and development that gets us to that breaking point, that gets us to that nervous breakdown point, that point where we just lose it. For some, it's the loss of a child. For some, it's the loss of a loved one, a spouse, a loss of a parent. For some, it's the betrayal of a loved one. It could be anything, whatever it is. Every one of us have a breaking point. Every one of us have things that we have to go through to get us to that point of breaking down. Because see, in order for growth to take place, there has to be a decaying. There has to be a dying in order for there to be a resurrection. See, most of us don't want to go through that dying process. We want to skip that part. We don't believe that we should have to go through that because we're special. But in order for you to come out better, something has to die. You can't have growth and development without death. They go hand in hand. Death brings the growth and development. See, your old nature, your old ways, your old thoughts, your old beliefs, something has to die in order for these new beliefs, this new lifestyle, this new way of life to be able to be ushered in. Something has to die. Jesus knew that. He knew the hell that his body was getting ready to go through. And that's why He sweated blood, crying out in agony and pain. He hadn't even went through it yet. He hadn't even suffered it yet, but he knew what was going to happen. And just the knowing that that time was come, and that this is what was about to happen to him. He cried out in agony and pain and fear. And he finally got to the point, not my will, but thy will be done. And so it is with each and every one of us. We all get to that breaking point. And that breaking point is us surrendering our old ways, us surrendering our old belief systems that no longer serve our greatest good. And so you have to go through that dying process. You have to go through that process of being broken so that you could rise stronger, better, wiser than you were before. It's not to destroy your body. It's just to make you better. And so many of us go through these nervous breakdowns. So many of us get to these points of fighting and resisting and not wanting to be broken down, not wanting to surrender. And all the brokenness, all that is just us completely surrendering, us completely taking control of our ego, and our ego being broken to the point where our ego is no longer in control. Our ego is no longer running things in that area of our life. And so what's been broken is our ego has been broken. That stronghold, that area where he ran or she controlled certain areas of your life, has been broken. Those chains around your neck have been broken. And so that fear, that loss, that pain is in reality like a mother bringing forth a new child. A mother birthing a kid into this world. It's the birth pains. It's interesting. I often say that I die daily. I die daily. And what do I mean by that? In order to grow, there's certain areas of my life that I got to deal with. In order to grow, there's certain things that I have to resolve. Regardless of how long I've had these thought processes, regardless of how long I've had these belief systems, man, at a certain point, I have to let that go. And although I'm extremely comfortable with those thought processes, although I'm completely comfortable with those belief systems, because I've held them for so long, the pain comes in me cutting those things away. I have to cut those emotional attachments away. And that's scary. That's traumatizing. That's agonizing. And this is why the great majority of us really don't want to grow. This is why the great majority of us don't want to go through the process of growing, because in order to go through the process of growing, you have to first go through the process of dying. It is the dying that brings the growth. My hope and prayer is that you find the courage, the inner strength to face your fears, regardless of how heavy they are, how painful they are. I don't care how much you cry. I don't care how much your stomach cramp up. I don't care how much your heart aches and feel like it's getting ready to bust. You got to go through that process. You have to go through that process. And when you go through that process, understand that it's not to make you bitter. It's not to make you angry. It's to make you better. That pain, that agony is to make you better, not bitter. So many people go through things and they become bitter. When you grow through things, you become better. I'm going to say that again. Many people go through things and become bitter. People who grow through things become better. That's the difference. That's the difference. Don't just don't just go through it. Grow through it. And you grow through it by understanding that it's going to make you better. I don't care if you're facing loneliness. I don't care if you feel all alone. I don't care if you don't feel good enough. I don't care what your issue is. It don't matter. Face your fear and grow through this thing that you're facing. Because it is only in facing it that you're able to grow through it. And that is the only way that you're going to become a better version, a better person, a better wife, a better spouse, a better human being, is by growing through it. I love you guys.